we'd like you to speak on psychic children, the college for mediums. When something was true, I would see a symbol. We're in this very small, intimate gathering. Snaps a picture of John Holland and I together. I'm so sorry. What have I done? Forgive me, John. Why would I lie like that? I've got myself on Craigslist, selling my skills as a medium, getting in touch with past lives and things. A Chinese tattooist, the universe plays with us. I'm all about synchronicity, right?
Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to the Medium's Table. I'm your host, Michelle Gardner. This podcast is your personal invitation to join me at the intersection of the everyday and the extraordinary. Together, we'll explore the magic of mediumship, share spiritual stories, and connect with fellow mediums on this incredible journey. So grab a seat, pour yourself a cuppa, and come join us at the Medium's Table, where spirits gather and stories unfold. I'd like to welcome back to the show today, Medium Alicia. Welcome back, Alicia. It is so good to have you back with us.
Oh, I am so glad to be here. It's kind of exciting to be back and with you again. I haven't seen you for a while. So.
Yeah, I loved your previous episode where you talked about your life journey. It was incredible. And I've known you for a little while and I did not know your journey. I didn't know your history, had no idea. That was all new to me. I was hearing it first right here on screen with you. And then I questioned, How did you not tell me that? Anyway.
Anyway, here we are.
Exactly. All right. What have you got for us today?
You know, I'm all about synchronicity, right? And there was a story. I was following signs at this point, different signs, and they were always taking me to these wonderful things. But this one was just amazing because it was a little bit about spirit. It was a little bit about intuition. It was a lot of synchronicity that would catapult me somewhere. And the best way to start would be I was doing a public broadcast with, and I can't remember the name of the show. It was a psychic show, and the lady would do different mediums or spirit artists and just crystal people, Reiki. And one day she said, well, we'd like you to speak on psychic children because that's a huge, interest of mine and always has been because I was one of those children. So I said, sure, I'll speak. And there were two other speakers that were going to be there as well. And I met this wonderful woman who was a spirit artist, and she was up after me doing her video. And she's up there and she's doing spirit art and readings to those people who were presenters, basically, because that's who was out in the audience. And she was drawing this photo, basically, is what it looked like, a photo. It was a picture. And she did it in charcoal, and it was my grandfather. And she came to me and gave me this message from my grandfather. And I was just starting on my journey. I was just peeling the layers back. I'll never forget it. And she spoke about how I was able to hear from the other side, and I knew the sounds and the music and the lights and the vibration, which she was 100% correct. And I left there and I was helping her pack up her things at the end, and I was helping her carry them out to the car. And I saw a bumper sticker on her car, and I can't even remember what the bumper sticker said now, but it was I said, I like that bumper sticker. I would like to get that for my car. And she said, I think I got that one in Salem, Massachusetts. No, I got it at Arthur. I got it in Stansted. I go, Stansted? Where's Stansted? Well, that's Arthur Findlay College in Stansted, England. Did you know it's a college for mediums? Now, you have to understand, this was, not in the limelight for mediums and intuitives like it is today. We're living in the dark ages then. We hadn't come into full blossom of mediumship. And I said, really? And she goes, yes. You need to go there. I just know you need to go there. And this is a time when something was true, I would see a symbol, okay? And at this point, it was dragonflies. And she bent over and she's wearing a dragonfly pin. And I said, ooh, I know this to be true. So a couple months later, and I hadn't even looked into Arthur Findlay College. So that would have been in October. In November, I would be traveling to visit family in Ohio from New England. I was taking a flight out of Boston. The bus just happened to be late. Dartmouth coach was late because it was traffic. I missed my flight. So here I am in stilettos, pulling a case along cobblestones. Yes, and trying not to kill myself and doing a balancing act through the streets of Boston, where I end up in this bookstore. And I said, good Lord, I need to go sit in this bookstore because I'm going to kill myself before I get anywhere. So, because it was going to be hours before my flight was taking off, because the next flight I could get out was like hours later, and I'm not going to sit in the airport. So, and Boston's right there. So here I am in this bookstore, pull a book off the shelf. This book was by this man by the name of John Holland, who was a medium. So I opened a book and I'm reading the book and I'm like, oh, he went to Arthur Findlay College in Stansted, England. I'm going to be going there. This means I need to go there. And I had just gotten back from Greece, which is another story for another day that I was led to. So I said, I don't know how I'm going to afford it. I just don't have money growing on trees, so to speak. So I went to Ohio, came back, and I had this book. Well, I'm on the internet. This is about a week later, and I'm on the internet. And it pops up that John Holland is going to be talking about his new book, Power of Spirit, at a bookshop or a metaphysical store called Circles of Wisdom in Massachusetts. Andover. No, yeah, I think it's Andover, Massachusetts. Yeah. And I said, well, I call and I'm like, well, you're the first person to call. And I go, wow, okay, so it's not sold out. No, you're the first person. I said, will you mark 2 tickets, one for my friend and one for me? Paid the lady and called my friend. I said, I got us tickets to see John Holland down in Massachusetts. Okay. So I don't know, a couple weeks later, her husband said, I'll drive you down. So he drives us down to Massachusetts from Vermont. And we're in this very small, intimate gathering of these people. But there were like 30, 40 people there. I don't know for sure. I can't recollect. There was more than a handful and a huge auditorium. Anyhow, he's up there. Now, you've got to understand, I've never even read his book, Power of Spirit. Forgive me, John. Forgive me. I had just went through it, I just went through it and read some excerpts, but I was quite taken about the one on synchronicity, right? And I said, I won't forget this one. Absolutely not. Nope. And I walked in, we're sitting there, And he said, I'm going to ask you a few questions about my book. And, whoever can answer these questions or this question will get a free copy of my book. Okay. So I said, I'm not going to get a free copy. I haven't even read the book, right? I've read a couple excerpts and one stuck out in my mind. And that was the one on synchronicity. And he goes, so I speak of blah, blah, blah. And did anyone read that and remember what that was? Well, of course I did. The only thing he's asking is about synchronicity. The only thing I read in the book. And I go, oh, yes, I know that. It's synchronicity. And goes, bing, 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 bing. You're the lucky winner. Here's my book. And I'm like, oh, gosh, I already had a copy, but I can't tell him this. And, oh, all right. So this is what was just crazy. And I still have the picture today. So my friend Dana says, get up there. I want to take your picture with him. So I get up there, standing there, because he's going to sign my book. Well, I don't want Power of the Spirit signed. That means, at this point, that book means nothing to me. Born Knowing is what I came to get signed. So I get up there. My friend Dana snaps a picture of John Holland and I together. And he looks at me and he said, well, prior to the picture being snapped, he said, oh, you want your book signed? And I go, oh, yeah, no, not that one. Don't. And you know how I am, Michelle. Oh, no, not that one. This one. And he goes, Born Knowing? And I go, yes. Because I read about Arthur Findlay College in there. And he goes, oh, yes. Are you going there? And I go, well, yes, I am. I'm signed up for the advanced mediumship course. Well, I'm like, okay. And he goes, well, just remember, you're very good at what you do, but they're going to kick your, And I go, oh. And he goes, yeah, they're going to kick it. But just remember, you're very good at what you do. Of course, he used the curse word, which I'm not going to use here on the channel. And my friend then snaps a picture, and we got in the car. And I said, Dana, did you hear what I told him? I said, I told him I'm going to Arthur Findlay College. I'm not signed up to go to any Arthur Findlay College. And by the way, I don't really have the money. I just got back after a trip to Greece. And why would I lie like that? Because that's horrible. And she goes, did you think you didn't lie? And maybe it's just spirit and something you know? I go, I doubt it. I doubt it very seriously. But now I feel guilty that I even said such a ridiculous thing. Well, when I got home, I found myself, my friend calls me from, where'd she live in? Colorado. And she said, oh, I'm going to Arthur Findlay College in a couple of weeks. Would you like to go? And I said, well, I don't know, I don't know about the money situation. And I said, well, if I had the money, I'd go. And she goes, 3 weeks, I'm flying out and I'm going to the mediumship course. So, okay. Well, what ended up happening, Michelle, was I was gifted $3,000 by a relative. And I right away went onto the website and I said, well, I told John, the advanced mediumship. So I sign up for the advanced mediumship and I pay and I get my flight. I'm all ready to go. And here I was 3 weeks later going to Arthur Findlay College, all followed by synchronicity, right? Because there I am. So I get to Arthur Findlay College and I pull out. And by the way, they had to test me, make sure I was of caliber to be in the advanced mediumship class because they weren't going to allow it. They were going to make me go into the beginner class with my friend. And she was also signed up for the advanced, and she didn't pass whatever criteria. So she went into the beginner class. I did pass the criteria, ended up in the advanced class. Did they kick my? They certainly did. But I had the picture. My friend Dana had it printed out for me, and she wrote on the back, "Just remember, you're good at what you do, John Holland." And I'm like, oh, and it was that, and that just was more of my journey and more of my growth and coming into my gift. And it was amazing. And that was just one small part of the story, was finding that book, just on a bookshelf, any old bookshelf. And what I failed to tell you, so back in the day, remember when I'm trying to make money, I've got myself on Craigslist, selling my skills as a medium on Craigslist back in the day. May I say back in the day? And I'll never forget, a man said, he of course, he answered my ad, and he said, "Oh, so you're a medium, eh? Are you as good as John Holland?" Well, I had never heard of John Holland. And I said, "Well, yes, I am." I didn't know who he was. So of course I am. And I would have never followed all that, and that was long before I would ever go into a bookstore and make that journey. And there are so many stories I have like that.
That's
that
incredible.
Yeah, it really is, Michelle. Another one was a Borders bookstore. And a lot of my happenings in bookstores, I don't get it. But I just, which are becoming obsolete, right? Which in some ways saddens me, but that's a whole nother discussion. But so I was in the bookstore, and if anyone knows me, they know how I have no spatial awareness, no filter, and no spatial awareness. And so I'm just walking through, the store trying to get to the one bookshelf. And here's a lady, she's standing here, and here's the bookshelf in front of the lady, and I walk right in between them as she's looking. And she grabs my arm, and she's a little Asian woman. She grabs my arm, and she pulls me, and she goes, look, my book. And I said, "Your book?" And she goes, "Yes, that's my book." I go, "That's your book?" And she said, yes. Oh, I just now have seen it on the shelf. I said, "Wow, that's awesome that you wrote a book and it's been published, and this is the first time she's seen her book." I said, "I'm taking that as a sign." She goes, "A sign?" And I said, "Yeah, I don't know what your book's about, but I'm going to buy that book." But she goes, "You're going to buy my book?" As she's apologizing to me for pulling my arm. She goes, "I am so sorry. I'm so very..." I go, no. I'm going to buy your book. It's okay. But I require one thing, that you put your signature in it. Okay? Oh, yes. So she writes, "Dear Alicia," and then a Chinese Mandarin character, and the best, and her name. And I said, "You know why I'm having you do this?" I said, "I believe in synchronicity. And I believe it is no doubt there was a reason why you grabbed my arm and you showed me that book. So that's important to me. And for you to sign it, is very important to me. And she goes, oh, she said, my grandmother talks about you and Alicia. That's what your symbol here is, Yuan. And that was the symbol she had written in the book, the Chinese character. And she goes, Yuan is very much like synchronicity. It means that the people you meet, you're meant to meet. And it's part of your destiny. And I go, why, thank you very much. And what was interesting was her book was actually about a California lady that would take off, quit her job, go on an adventure with her camera, and would end up getting in touch with past lives and things. And it was a vignette that was all interwoven. And it was about following, these. And I was just like, wow. So years later, I kept looking for a Chinese tattooist that, because we all hear about how the tattoos go on wrong and you're wearing something that you really don't want to wear and it's backwards. So it was nearly impossible. I am going through everyone. So years later, probably like 8 years later from that time, I said to my partner, I will find someone who can do that tattoo. And he goes, well, why don't you go to my tattoo artist? And I go, all right, whatever, but he's not Chinese. He goes, well, just go to him. So he looks at it and he goes, of course I'll do this. What I'll do is, and of course he did it. He took the photocopy, put it on and then did it. It goes, what color ink? I said, red, of course, because it's the red string, that follows. And he said, oh, red's a bad one because some people's skin doesn't hold the red ink. And I said, that's okay. Just make it red. If it doesn't hold it, it doesn't hold it. And I did get the tattoo. I got it on my right wrist, inner wrist. So it looks at me. And so it's showing the Yuan towards me. If I shake your hand when I greet someone, it is my right hand that would extend and shake your hand. And you would be able to see the Yuan's now facing you. So years later, a couple of years later, I'm still kind of worried. Can people really read what this says? And there's a woman that lived next door who was Chinese and could read Mandarin. And I said, so can I show you this? Would you? And she reads it and she goes, oh, sure, that's Yuan. That's very special. And it means fate and destiny. And so that was just another really cool story. And that just was preceding John Holland's story.
That's incredible. I cannot believe you follow the dots and you see how it unfolds, but you don't force it.
You can't force it, Michelle, because once I started forcing it, and what was happening is I could see precognitively, things that were going to happen or trends that would be happening. And then I was forcing it. You cannot force it because I've come to learn, and this is only me. I'm not reading books on it. This is what I've learned from me. And I'm sure many people will disagree. But I believe that in some ways there is this destiny. And I'm not saying everything is destined in your life, but I do believe certain things are. Do we have free will over them? Yes, but they're going to keep coming back another way. and we're going to see it a different way. Do you understand? So it's like the shell game. I feel like the universe plays with us until they get the timing just right, more so your acceptance instead of, right, that, oh, I'm going to force it. It's got to happen this way because this is what I saw. Well, yeah, I saw the trend happening. That's not what it meant. It had a much deeper meaning. And so then the universe could bring it to me in a totally different way, which was amazing.
That's incredible. It is just, it's you just couldn't make this up. You know what I mean? The old saying, you just couldn't make this up. That is amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's not like I don't have the paper trail, Shaw. I have the paper trail that shows I was there. I did this. I saw this. I got this. So I can't make it up. Literally, I can't make it up. And I would not change any of it, anything in my life. People say they have regrets, right? And I really can say I don't have any regrets because everything I've done or lived or been this lifetime has been amazing, and the connections to people and places and things have been amazing, none of which I could have ever contrived out of a box. I once signed a quilt that I made because I found that my creativity helped open up my channels, right? And this was after that Kundalini experience I talked about in our first podcast. I made this big, huge quilt. I'm not good at mathematics, so the measurement became much larger, and it was a large wall hanging, not a small wall hanging. But I spent quality time, and the therapist that I have been going to all those years, I took, and I said, well, okay, after I'd finished and I was moving on to bigger and better things, I inscribed it in the back. And I put a box, and then I put a heart in the box with a peace sign. And I wrote, I found my happiness living out, peace, love, and happiness living outside of the box. And there was so much truth to that. That's when I knew I had really embraced that quirky, that different, and knew that I would not change a bit of my life or have a regret, even stupid, foolish things I had done. I mean, I should have died, I didn't. And it was all an experience that led to beautiful things, has led to so many beautiful things. And I'm so thankful to the universe and people in my life for that protection, because I've always felt the protection from the universe with everything I've done. And they've kept me incredibly safe, and still to today. I'm so grateful.
Wow. And you just had such a remarkable life. Like, just that story in itself is just, you walk away thinking, wow, that's incredible. If people paid more attention, the signs are everywhere. Incredible.
Michelle, they are everywhere. And I always think of, you have to believe, you really have to believe, and you have to not only trust yourself, you have to trust the universe, and you have to trust them explicitly They got you. They have you. You don't have them. They have you. And it has been proven over and over and over again to me, because this is somebody, like I said in the last podcast, that has issues, me, with communication. And I'm a little special, a great special. And that protection that I've always felt has saved me. It really has. Just from social cues I didn't understand. Yeah. Really, I'm so thankful. But you have to trust and you have to believe. And yet it starts as small. Wow, that's pretty cool. And it's more than just the duck. I see a duck here. I see a duck there. Oh, that means this. It's so much deeper than that. I just want to express that it is so much deeper than just seeing this, this, and this. A true synchronicity is when you inside, subjectively, psychically, intuitively know something and you see it or feel it, you know it. All right. I would see it. It's because I'm strong like that, or hear it, very strong in those senses and feeling. So if I would see, right, what would happen, I'll take clairvoyance, for example. So I would see it in myself. Okay. This was subjective. Now I'm walking along and all of a sudden I see exactly what I saw in my mind's eye 6 months ago. What am I doing here, this moment in time? And it was like this, it was meant to be. So in other words, that moment in time is telling me I'm right where I'm at, doing what I need to be doing and carrying on to where it just got to be more and more. And then people would be speaking to me and they would say these outrageous things. And they would say, oh, geez, I would have never said that. Like the lady in the bookstore. Oh, I'm so sorry. What have I done? Well, no, you were doing exactly what you were meant to do so that I would buy this book, because that's what I believe in. And I think more and more, just trusting and believing, and it's baby steps. It really is, Shell. It's baby steps.
Undeniable signs, isn't it? Undeniable knowing. Just, wow. Listeners, the words of wisdom are right here, and you've heard it straight from Alicia's mouth. You've heard it straight from her own experience. Take a leaf out of her book, because this is how it happens. Thank you so much, Alicia, for joining us on this episode of the Medium's Table. Oh, I can't wait to have you back again for more stories. They are just so deep and profound, so deep and profound. Where can people find you?
Anywhere. Synchronicity Sweetheart. That is on TikTok. It is on Insta. And guess what? It's on Facebook. And I welcome anyone who has a question or more interest to just reach out. And I would be more than happy to answer your questions.
So thank you so much for joining us on the show. And I can't wait to have you back again very soon.
Thank you, Michelle. And it's been wonderful. I look forward to us being together once again.
Thanks for joining me at the Medium's Table. The universe is always speaking. Listen and let your spirit soar. Curious for more? Click on one of the videos below and remember to subscribe.